Welcome to Enots Engineering. I'm Alan. In today's video we continue making the floating reamer holder. This is a kit from Hemingway Kits and I'll put details on the front page. We cut an internal thread using the thread stop and also machine the body and produce 4 holes on a pitch circle for the cap heads that hold the end cover. So let's go into the workshop and see how we do it. We start off by holding a piece of 2-inch steel bar in a 3-jaw chuck and drilling it out until we get up to a 1-inch bore. We then use the boring bar to bore it out to the finished size. I'm using a telescopic gauge to get the bore diameter. That says 310. I'm going to leave it at that. In the last video I showed this clamp, which is for thread cutting, and that goes on the end of the cross slide. And people have probably wondered what this little hole is for in the end of the cross slide. Well, you use that in conjunction with your clamp for thread cutting. You just clamp that to the cross slide, and then when you're coming in and out with your tool for thread cutting, so if you're cutting a thread on a bar on the outside, you can touch the bar, back it off a few thou, set this to the depth, and every time you put a cut on, wind it out, it just hits this and you know you're clear of your thread. But the problem you get then, when you come to an internal thread, you're coming towards us. Lock that up. That's stopping you going into the depth that you need. And when you back it off, there's nothing there to stop it. So that hole, you put this screw in, goes into the hole in the end of the cross slide. It's a long thread. So now I can put the cut on the thread in a bore and coming towards me, and then when I back it off, it hits a stop and you know that you're clear to come out. It just saves you backing the thread cutting tool out a lot further than you need to, and then you can always find your reading on the dial wherever you got to. So let's set it up for thread cutting. Look, just start off slowly, come in till I touch it. There we go, you can see it's made a mark. Zero my top slide. I'm adjusting my clamp so when I back the tool off, that should be clear. The tool's clear. Now I want to set my dial indicator up on the carriage to give me the depth. I've set this up so as the thread cutting tool goes into the bore to the correct depth, this goes round 2 revolutions. It tells me I'm at the end of the thread. And that gives you plenty of time to stop the lathe. Ready to start thread cutting. Once I engage the lead screw, I can't disengage it, otherwise I lose my position. back the tool off. Put the cut on, forward. When you reach the full thread depth, then we can test it with the matching part. I've been trying to thread when it gets to the target depth. A bit tight there. That goes right in. That's okay. I found if you put the sleeve on the Morse taper, gives you a bit more to grip on. As a tip, if you have one of these ratchet tap wrenches, if you put it in your lathe, put a centre drill on the end, and you can use it in your mill or your lathe with a guide going into the end to keep your tap square as you tap in a hole. Put a grub screw in the hole that we drilled and tapped. At the bottom of that is a piece of copper to stop the thread getting damaged, so this is locked onto the threads that we cut, and now I've held it all in the headstock. So the next job is to just face this off. And still over 1.250. Now I've changed to a boring bar to bore the hole to size. Half a thou under 1.55. .222. Okay, we can take this out. And move on to the next part. I've changed my chuck jaws for external, and I'm just checking that my tool is not going to hit the jaw when I face this blank off. We've got this face cleaned up. Turn it round, hold it in the jaws, up against the face that I've just cleaned up. I'm just turning a small register on there that will align it in the other part. There we go, just fits on there. I've set the body up in the milling machine and we'll just put the cover on the top and I'll drill through the cover and the body in one operation. I'm drilling the tapping size for an M3 and I'm drilling the depth through the cover and up to ½ inch down into the body, and I'll do that on 4 holes on the top. That should stop that rotating, so I'll move to the other hole. I'm just going to counterbore the 4 holes in the cover. I'll turn the part around for the next hole. That's all the 4 holes counterbored. Just tap in the threads. I've replaced the cover and put the whole assembly back in the lathe. .23. .288 and a bit. I just want to clean the outside up. You must be careful not to take too much off, otherwise you'll break into the cap head holes. I'm not taking any more off the OD. The holes in the end here are really close now to the edge, so I don't want to break into that, so that's, I'm going to leave that finish. Just take a light skim off the front face. Just take the sharp edge off the inside. That's finished. So you can see how close the edge of the hole is to the outside on all of those holes. Oh well, that's it for today. Hope that was interesting. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on Enots Engineering.